dun sa goal na.
Okay. So that's also true, no? Uh, pero one aim of this cascade of care is dapat hindi kasi siya nag-overlap. Dapat tayong mga clinicians, we know that we have to start from screening before we do the treatment. And we have to diagnose first before we treat. And ito yung kailangan nating i-emphasize. No? So during the lecture, we will be emphasizing that sa screening, hindi tayo pwedeng mag-jump into treatment agad. No? Kasi we may miss, no, the important part of the diagnosis. But of course, I will be showing you some data, no, on how endemic, no, how endemic. Is it really endemic in the Philippines, no? Can we call it endemic? No, kasi ang endemic, it's very common. Is it really, can we recognize it as an endemic disease ba? No? So kasi more of ang endemic, ito yung medyo malakihan na, no, malaki in wide scale na yung number of incidents ng TB sa bansa. So anyway, let's proceed with the background. So in 2024, 10.7 million people, no, globally to, fell ill with TB. And there is a slight improvement from 10.8, but it's still high, di ba? And the distribution, mostly male. Of course, we know why men uh, are more prone to have developed TB. Bakit kaya? Why is it men are more infected, no? Commonly infected with TB than women.
Poor seeking, health-seeking behavior daw. Usually last
Yes,
sila
for
nagpapahinga daw eh.
correct. Oo. And another siguro tama for
Occupational doc also.
yes, correct. Occupational, yun yung pinaka. Kasi sila pa rin, sa bansa natin, patriarchal pa rin tayo, most of the men nasa labas yan nagtatrabaho and women nasa bahay. Pero tignan mo, pumapantay na rin siya kasi mas marami na rin babaeng nagtatrabaho sa labas. And another, correct, poor health seeking behavior. No? Isa yon sa mga reason. Hindi nakasama dito sa presentation na to, pero it is the data shows around 40%, no, of people with TB, no, hindi sila pumupunta to seek consult, no, nag-ano sila, nagsa-self-medicate, either nagsa-self-medicate or hindi na lang nagpapa-check up because of stigma. So makikita mo sa mga history nila, 1 year cough na yan, 2 months cough, no? So ang tagal-tagal na niyang may sakit, ibig sabihin marami na rin siyang nakahawa, no, during the time na hindi siya nagagamot. And TB determinants, the same pa rin, undernourishment. So that's why it's more common, no, na makikita natin yung TB dun sa low strata ng economic ano natin, yung mga urban poor, rural poor, no? Pero marami na rin tayong cases ngayon na iba-iba. I have accountants, cashiers, no? Even sa PhilHealth may naging patient kami, DOH, may mga nag-positive dyan na hindi nila alam. So, marami na rin cases, pero undernourishment is one, no? And alcohol use disorders, no? Alam natin na this and smoking will make the patient prone to develop infections or to acquire infections. HIV infection, of course, no? Kaya lagi natin silang iba yung trato natin or iba yung algorithm natin when it comes to HIV patients. Hindi sila yung usual na algorithm sa presumptive sa screening, no, iba ang sa HIV. And diabetes, no, sa BIPAL operational research during 2021 nung ginawa namin yung BIPAL OR dito sa Pilipinas, we have 40 patients or 44 patients out of the 103 na cohort, no, ang may diabetes. So this is also very important because, no, yung uncontrolled DM, as we know, makes the patient immunocompromised, no, and they easily acquire infections. Okay. Next is ito. So in this slide, no, the estimated HIV prevalence, that's why I want to focus on HIV also. Estimated HIV prevalence in people with a new episode of TB. So tumataas yung cases natin ng HIV, tumataas din yung cases ng new cases of TB. So nakakagulat ngayon na walang previous history ng TB, pero DRTB agad, yung mga ganon, no? So automatic kasi yan if you get if you have a patient with diagnosed with TB, automatic ini-screen sila for HIV kasi most likely malaki yung chances na baka lalo na yung mga young professionals, young individuals natin na alam naman natin ngayon iba na yung mga lifestyle, no? Sexual preferences, no? Marami tayong nakakatch na patients with TB na may comorbidity na HIV. Okay? So going to the Global TB Report 2025, last year, we're actually let me focus your attention here. No, we are actually dito sa estimated incidence per 100,000. Ito kasi yung TB burden. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang yung number of cases ng TB, pero minatch siya sa number of population. Like, kung i-compare mo ang China and the Philippines, ang China 1.5 billion ang population niyan, ang Philippines nasa 120 million lang. So kung ikukumpara natin yung number of patients per 100,000 population, makikita natin na mas mataas yung burden ni Philippines. So dito, makikita mo number 3 tayo sa burden. So per 100,000 population, meron tayong around 480 patients na may TB. Kung titingnan naman natin yung number of patients with TB, no, makikita natin dito India ang pinakamarami kasi malaki talaga rin yung population na similar with China. Kaya last year si China, number 3 siya, number 4 lang, number 4 tayo. Actually, we're tied. For the past few years, number 3 ang China, medyo malayo ng konti. Tapos recently, nung 2023, parang 7.1 tayo, 6.8 sila. Tapos nung 2024, nag-tie sa 6.8. Ngayon, mas mababa na. So, ibig sabihin, nag-i-improve talaga si China kahit na napakarami ng population. And this is because malaki talaga yung population niya, 1.5. Kaya marami ring pasyenteng may TB. Ito yung mas importante, yung TB incidence, no? Yung TB burden. Kasi kung titingnan natin yung TB burden, ang mga kasama natin dyan, lahat ng bansang ito, mostly yung medyo nasa third world countries, yung mahihirap, no? Mga konti-konti lang yung population nila, pero ang daming TB. So, ganito lang natin i-interpret itong mga tables na to. If you have questions mamaya, baka hindi nyo masyadong naintindihan. And focusing on the Philippines, ito yung recent din na Global TB Report. No, the TB incidence is actually 625, no, per 100,000 to, and this is an increase, no, of 14%, no, from the previous year. And also in terms of TB deaths or mortality, we also have 15% increase, no, from the previous year. So hindi talaga gumaganda yung sitwasyon ng TB dito sa Pilipinas. And zooming, no, pupunta tayo sa Central Luzon. This is a record from 2024, no? Last year ko to nahiram na slide from the Central Luzon, no? In the age groups or populations with TB, nakita natin sa 15 to 24, ito kasi yung mga ina-estimate natin na mataas sana, no? Yung number of cases, pero dito 251. Mas mataas pa rin dun yung 487, no? Kasi ito yung mga nasa schools, no? Pero marami dito underreported talaga, no? So, yung mga young population natin underreported. That's why medyo mas maliit yung ano pa dito, yung population. Pero I think ito kasi yung mga young professionals, no, yung mga tumataas na number of cases din ng HIV, tataas to in later years, no? Pag mas naging open na kasi may mga stigma pa rin. And if we focus our attention in this pie chart, no, The red is the missing TB cases. So 20% yung nawawala. Ito yung mga hindi nagpapa-check up. Ito yung mga takot magpa-check up, no? Ito yung mga nabigyan ng maling gamot siguro, no? Or pero nagpa-consult pa rin 'yon. Ito kasi yung mga hindi talaga na-record sa National TB Program notification. So pwedeng si private doctor hindi siya engaged sa TB notification, so hindi siya nagre-report ng cases niya rin. Okay? So nakita rin, hindi ko sinama sa lecture na to, na out of the TB cases in the Philippines, almost 50% or more pa nga are clinically diagnosed. Ito yung mga either na nag-gene expert, nag-negative, pero ginamot pa rin, or hindi na pinag-gene expert, ginamot na lang. Yun, yung mga clinically diagnosed. So marami na rin kaming cases na nakikita ngayon na after treatment of 6 months or 9 months of DSTB, pupunta sa amin, DRTB pala. So never siyang nag-gene expert, ginamot ng 6-9 na buwan. So walang kwenta yung gamot niya. Okay? Okay, so after giving you a background pa lang, we go to screening. Medyo mabilis lang tayo dito kasi I think you're all familiar with this. So yung high-risk population natin sila pa rin, no? Yung contacts, of course, parang COVID lang yan. Yun yung lagi kong sinasabi sa mga pasyente kapag dinidescribe ko ang TB kasi mas familiar sa kanila ang COVID. No? Mas malapit ka sa tao or mas madalas mo siyang kausap, mas madali kang mahawa. Okay? So those ever treated, yung mga retreatment cases meaning either they completed the treatment pero mali pala, those to follow up, hindi tinapos, anong tawag dito, previous treatment outcome unknown, ito yung mga nagpagamot sa mga private pero hindi na notify, hindi klaro kung gumaling ba talaga o hindi. Kaya previous treatment outcome unknown. People living with HIV as mentioned, elderly, no, this is close to my heart kasi geriatrician ako. Children, diabetic, smokers, healthcare workers, ito kasama tayo dito. So you have to be careful also, no, lalo na yung mga nagjo-duty na mahina ang resistensya or nagpupuyat, no, tapos haharap ka sa pasyente, pwede kang makakuha ng infection. Of course, urban and rural poor and immunosuppressive medical conditions, yung mga nagdadialysis, cancer patients, yung mga nag-chemotherapy. Ito rin, I'll be fast with this just to remind you of the 4 cardinal signs of TB. Cardinal means this is what we look for, no? For patients with who are most likely, no, presumptive for TB. No, cough, no, I have to emphasize unexplained fever kasi may mga nagre-refer sa akin basta fever lang, samantalang alam naman na may ATP pala. So unexplained nung hindi tinablan ng usual na gamot mo or paulit-ulit na fever na hindi talaga siya gumagaling. Drenching night sweats. Before, night sweats lang. Pero ngayon, we have to emphasize lalo na sa tropical country like the Philippines, drenching talaga to. Yung parang ang pasyente ang describe niya, pawis na pawis niya siya pero hindi naman mainit, no? Ganon. Or unexplained weight loss, no? May mga nagre-refer na ang cause pala ng weight loss niya is uncontrolled DM pero of course dito kailangan nating screen kasi immunocompromised siya or unexplained weight loss kasi so yung pag mga ganun halimbawa cancer pala so we have to evaluate din pero kung confirmed na may cancer patient na to na hindi naman nagki-chemotherapy, no? So most likely yung weight loss niya is related to that, no? So medyo ano rin tayo i-evaluate natin ng maayos, no, before we consider this as presumptive TB. Yung sa cough kasi isa pa to, may mga nagre-refer sa amin na kakap gene expert lang nung January, pinapa-gene expert na naman ng February, tapos March. So we're wasting our resources here, no? Lalo na kung ang patient mo with history of asthma na talagang or COPD na alam mo namang hindi na nawawala ang ubo niyan, no? So we have to check din na if it's really TB. Dito papasok ang very important yung X-ray, no? Yung X-ray kasi, we can have a baseline X-ray. Then, usually kapag nag-negative ang gene expert, halimbawa, first time na ni-refer, tapos mukhang COPD naman, but I have to make sure na hindi to TB. So, ginawa ko ang gene expert. Pero negative naman, trinit ko siya with COPD meds, nag-improve. Pero, ito, medyo ano ka pa rin, no? Maghinala ka pa rin. Huwag mo siyang alisin sa isip mo. So, ang tinatawag namin siyang TB surveillance. No? So, after 2 months, you can repeat the X-ray. Kung yung mas small lesion na yon na nakita mo during the baseline X-ray, stable naman siya. And wala namang symptoms yung pasyente, na control mo na yung COPD niya, then most likely this is not an active TB. Okay? So hindi niya kailangang i-treat. You can do your TB surveillance uli, no, sa JBL, kasi meron kaming employees health and wellness clinic. So may mga employee kami na nakikitaan namin ng mga granuloma or mga calcified lesions, no? So minsan we decide to treat, depende sa symptoms nila, no? Pero minsan, no, we decide to do TB surveillance kasi hawak naman namin, I mean, na pa-follow up naman namin yung patient. So after 2 months, babalik sila sa amin, i-review na naman namin sila, re-evaluate for symptoms, do another X-ray, no, comparative reading ng X-ray. So kung stable naman, then we do treat them. Okay? So just to emphasize, these are screening tools, no, yung X-ray at saka symptoms, no. Ito pa rin yung suggestion ng World Health Organization. They call the 4 cardinal signs as the WS4 or the World Health Organization, no, signs, no, 4 signs. So ito talaga, dito talaga nagfo-focus yung symptoms ng TB. Although meron tayong iba like hemoptysis, no, we have anong tawag dito, yung iba nilalagay yung poor appetite, nilalagay yung body mali, no. These are just additional symptoms that we may consider, pero ito talaga yung cardinal signs ng TB. Kasi although I will not be discussing hemoptysis, no, in this lecture, no, based on studies, no, there are other causes of hemoptysis. So hindi lahat ng nagkakaroon ng hemoptysis TB na. Okay? And it's one of the post-TB complication din. Kaya we have to be careful, no, in labeling them as active TB. Okay? Sorry. In children, no, we have a different screening tools, no. So ito yung nakalagay sa ano nyo, sa MOP, MOP6. So ito pa rin yun. So let me focus your attention in the chest X-ray findings because we don't usually use, no, chest X-ray, no, in screening TB in children, no, kasi madalas nililabel siya na TB agad ng sorry, no, for some radiologists, na dahil lang sa mga hilar lymphadenopathies, no, pero kung pag-aaralan natin uli, no, I attended the lecture on DRTB and how to distinguish, no, kung positive TB ba yung lymph node, no. So it has to be big, no, and most of the time it's solitary, no. So yung mga maliliit na hilar lymphadenopathies, tignan pa rin natin, no, kung yun lang yung magiging basis mo to treat the patient or to label the patient as presumptive TB, hindi yun enough, no, hindi yun enough. Although yun nga dito, except for TB household contacts, kung contact na siya tapos nakitaan pa ng symptoms and X-ray findings, then lumalaki yung possibility na baka nga, no, presumptive TB to. Mahirap sa bata kasi alam natin na mahirap silang di sila agad-agad nakakapag-expectorate, no? Especially for younger children, no? They have difficulty expectorating, and also most of the time, no, mag-iiyakan na lang kayo, hindi yan maglalabas. So may mga ways tayo kung paano magkolekta ng specimen for gene expert in children. Okay, so ito lang yung gusto kong i-emphasize dito, yung chest X-ray, kasi ano pa rin iba dapat iba yung pag-treat natin sa bata at saka sa matanda. And even with people living with HIV, yung binanggit ko nga kanina, for for PLHIV patients, we do the TB screening uh, every visit, no? Every visit. So, ang every visit ng HIV patients usually every 3 months, di ba? Or yung iba nga nilalagay na every 6 months or ad hoc, no? Pero kung every time nag-visit yung pasyente sa clinic, no, sa hub, kailangan mo siyang screen, no? Kasi sila yung immunocompromised, no? May patient ako na dating DRTB, no? Okay na kami, tapos na kami, pero HIV siya. Ang follow-up niya sa HIV hub is after 3 months. Kaso, parang na-depress, no? From the time na nagpa-check up siya, after 1 month, na-depress. Hindi pa oras ng check-up niya, tumigil siyang maggamot. So after 1 month lang, andyan na yung symptoms ng TB. So kailangan niyang mag-follow up. So ganun lang siya kabilis, no? Tumigil siya ng 1 month ng treatment, nagka-symptoms kaagad siya ng TB. So unfortunately, namatay yung patient, no? Kasi grabe yung TB niya. From DRTB na kasi yon, so hindi na namin nahabol. So let's now go to the diagnosis. So after screening the patient, we have to know, no, whether it's really TB or not. We have to confirm, no? Yun yung tamang term, no? Kailangan natin confirm. So in TB, no, I borrowed this slide from the laboratory lecture of one of my colleagues, no? For effective management of TB, no, we have to do rapid diagnosis, rapid detection of drug-resistant TB to promptly initiate the treatment, no? So kailangan talaga nauuna itong dalawa, no? And that's why, no, as we know, we already have a rapid diagnostic test as recommended by the World Health Organization. Kasi minsan may mga doktor, lalo na yung mga seniors natin, na senior doctors natin, hindi nila masyadong alam to. So I even heard one comment na TB na yung x-ray, bakit hindi mo pagamutin? Okay. So, tama ba yun? So, hindi kasi sila aware na meron tayong mga rapid diagnostic test na pwede nating gamitin, no, to easily identify, no, the patient's drug resistant pattern para tama rin yung gamot natin. Kasi lagi kong binabanggit sa mga ibang doctors na confident ka ba or are you happy, no, giving DSTB to this patient na hindi mo alam kung drug resistant TB siya? So kampante ka bang pauwiin ito? Binigyan mo ng gamot, of course, pero resistant pala. So alam mo na hindi rin naman siya gagaling. Okay? So mas maganda i-diagnose mo siya. Okay? So ito rin, I borrowed some slides from the laboratory specialist ng Peerlink. So we will be starting with the conventional diagnostic test, initial test for diagnosis with drug resistance detection, just to make you aware that we have this diagnostic test for TB. Then we go to initial test for diagnosis without drug resistance detection. Follow on. So what's the difference between a follow-on test and a follow-up test? And what are the phenotypic and genotypic DST, which are the gold standards for diagnosis of TB? Okay. So what are the conventional tests? No, we have the smear microscopy or the AFB smear. No, alam natin yan, AFB smear. So now we only use the term smear microscopy. No, and the other one is liquid culture. No, ito yung mga ginagamit natin na traditional. So before the advent of the rapid diagnostic test, we use these tools, no, to confirm diagnosis. Imagine nung time na wala pang gene expert, you can do the smear, no, mabilis lang yon. And ano yon, a very subjective test, kasi yung medtech ang magtitingin, no. So kung na-miss niya sa slide yung TB, then na-miss niya rin yung diagnosis. Okay? Or kung nag-positive man, ginamot mo yung pasyente ng DSTB, then you do the culture. Kung kung may culture na available, and at that time baka wala pa, no, pero kung may culture na available, it will take 8 weeks for the growth and another 6 weeks for the DST. So a total of 14 weeks. So imagine kung 6 months, 4 times 6, 24 months. Tapos 14 weeks kang nag-aantay. Sorry, 6 times 4, 24 weeks. Tapos 14 weeks kang nag-aantay ng DST na malilate pa minsan, nade-delay pa sa dami ng trabaho. So natatapos na yung gamutan ng pasyente mo, dun mo lang malalaman na drug resistant pala siya. Okay? So these are the initial tests for diagnosis of TB with drug resistance detection. This is yung from the WHO. Kasi ang nasa atin lang ngayon, itong expert Reef Ultra Assay, ito yung dating ginamit natin yung hindi ultra, pero ngayon pinalitan na lahat ng machines ng ultra. So mas sensitive ito from the expert MTB Reef Assay. Okay? We pilot TrueNat. So may mga non-government organization na nagdala ng TrueNat dito sa Philippines. The advantage of TrueNat is that it's a very small machine equipment that you can bring to far-flung areas. Ito yung difference ng TrueNat. Pero compared with expert kasi, may may dalawang test yung ginagamit. So you do the MTB test. Tapos, if it's positive, then you do another test. So, magdadalawa ka. Compared with Expert Ultra na pagsalpak mo ng cartridge sa machine, no, lalabas na kaagad yung TB detection and the resistance pattern. And we also have this moderate complexity automated NAATs. Ito wala pa. I think PGH meron. I think this is the BD Max, no? So, hindi ko alam kung meron sa TMC. Okay? Yon. So, sa National TB Program, wala pa ito. So, ito lang, Expert Ultra Assay ang ginagamit natin. So, focusing on that, no, sa Expert Ultra Assay, ano yung usual results na makikita natin? Ito, familiar na rin kayo siguro. So, alam niyo yung RR, T, pagka hindi siya not detected. Pero ito, baka hindi kayo masyadong familiar. Pag lumabas ang result na MTB trace detected, no? Automatic dahil napaka-sensitive ni Expert Ultra na na-detect niya even the traces, even yung shell lang ng DNA ng bacteria, no? So siguro lahat naman kayo alam na Gene Expert is a form of genotypic test, no? It detects the DNA of the bacteria, of the TB bacteria. So, kapag trace, saan ba yung ano ko? Let me, ay mali ata, okay. So here, so itong TB trace na to, if the machine detects trace, no, automatic siya lalagay niya na rifampicin resistance indeterminate. No, hindi to ibig sabihin na rifampicin resistant siya. Naglalabas lang yung machine ng indeterminate kasi hindi rin siya sigurado doon sa TB niya kasi very trace, konting-konti lang yung na-detect niya. So, pag nakakita ka ng ganitong test, sabi dito, if the patient is low DRTB risk, ibig sabihin new case, walang previous treatment, not a contact, no, not immunocompromised, then you initiate DSTB. Okay? But if you are highly suspecting DRTB because of high risk, no? Kasi yung patient high risk, lahat ng binanggit natin kanina, HIV, retreatment case, contacts, no? Then you perform a second test just to make sure. But if it's still trace indeterminate, then you proceed with treatment with DSTB, or you refer to the TB-MAC to decide whether to treat the patient as DSTB or DRTB. TB-MAC is the TB Medical Advisory Committee, no? Okay? And if it's TI, it's not trace, no? But there is indeterminate trace. Ito, totoo na to, no? Kasi marami kang volume, marami kang TB bacilli doon, pero indeterminate yung resistance. So you have to repeat the test kasi hindi talaga siya sure kung rifampicin resistant siya. Okay? And other results can be not detected, error. No? Ito yung mga, ako pag not detected, tapos highly suspicious of TB, I do another test. Ito naman yung recommendation. Lalo na kung marami naman ng stocks ng gene expert sa site. So pinapaulit ko just to make sure na hindi siya TB. Okay? Baka may ma-miss ako. Any questions regarding this? Baka may mga na-encounter kayong mga ganitong test. Or are you familiar with the gene expert results? Meron ba ang TMC? Nagpapadala pa rin kayo sa amin, ano? Or do you have gene expert?
Doc, nagpapadala pa rin kami, Doc, ng mga patients sa local TB notes, Doc. Doon sa
So
amin kasi, Doc, medyo matagal. Mas mabilis
Ay,
pa
bakit?
yung... Oh, Doc.
Bakit?
Parang advice sa amin, Doc, parang 2 weeks or more para bago dumating.
Ay,
Parang
sinesend
nila,
out.
Sobrang mahal po.
Yeah,
Yan,
I
tsaka
think
mahal din, Doc.
sinesend out nila to. Oo, sinesend out siya. So sa Angeles, we have ONA and Lourdes. Oo, na expert machines, no? Expert ultra machines. Okay, so yun. So if you receive these results, meron naman silang recommendation kung kailangan ulitin o hindi. Okay. So the second, okay. So we go to the initial test for diagnosis of TB without drug resistance. Very similar ito sa AFB smear, no? Pero kung meron tong mga machine na to, hindi mo na kailangan mag-smear kasi ano rin sila, automated din sila. Kaya lang hindi sila nakaka-detect ng drug resistance. So this is the TB lamp, no? You can immunofluorescence to. So you can test around 10 specimens. Tapos kung saan doon ang mag-fluorescence yung TB. Pero hindi niya madedetect kung resistant siya. So you have to do another test. Sasubmit mo. Ito yung ginagamit nila for far-flung areas din o kaya pag nagkakaroon sila ng active case finding, tapos hindi nila madala yung gene expert, tapos wala silang TrueNAT, they can use the TB lamp. No? Dito sa NTP, I think, hindi ko alam kung meron ng PGH. Nagkaroon ng JBL before pero hindi rin masyadong nagamit kasi may gene expert naman. Then we also, no, the WHO also introduced the urine LF lamp. This is for, sino yung nakakaalam ng urine LF lamp? Are you familiar with this? Sinong familiar sa lamp?
Ako po, Doc, medyo may konting background ako with urine LF lab.
Okay, Marvin.
Actually, in the background of HIV treatment yung
correct.
sa akin. Kasi yung urine LF lab, well, urine yung ginagamit sa kanya. And mas nadedetect siya kapag ang CD4 ng HIV patient is less than 100 cells per microliter.
Yeah, correct. This test is only for very sick, no, HIV patients, yung mga mababa yung CD4, no, usually hospitalized, no. Kung gagamitin mo siya dun sa recommendation sa WHO, hindi siya recommended to be used sa mga non-HIV patients, no, kasi hindi siya ganun din ka hindi siya ganun ka useful, no. So ang gold standard pa rin for patients yung gene expert natin. Kasi imagine, no, urine bago pumunta yung TB, no, dun sa urine, of course sa sputum muna, and very rare na until this time, no, hindi pa rin natin pwedeng gamitin ang urine sample for gene expert kasi hindi talaga sensitive yung gene expert sa urine samples. Okay? Yan. Pero stool meron na, no? Stool gene expert for children less than 15. Pero options lang din siya kasi kung kaya nang mag-expectorate, of course, priority pa rin ang mas ma-encourage pa rin natin ang sputum kasi alam natin na nandoon yung bacteria ng TB, no? Primarily pulmonary siya. So, yung stool is just an option for children na hindi talaga. For very young children, yung mga infants, no, 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, na hindi talaga, no, mahirapan talaga tayo or very invasive mag-collect ng gastric aspirate. No? Sino dito marunong mag-collect ng gastric aspirate? For children. Na-try nyo na? Kasi baka magkaroon kayo ng pasyenteng bata.
Nag-try dati, Doc, nung internship. Pero hindi ko na maalala kung ba paano.
Paano? Okay. So you have to put the patient on NPO. So alam naman natin, imaginein mo yung laman ng tiyan. So alam mo na yung storage niya is 2 hours, then 4 hours, di ba? So at least 4 hours, no, after the last meal, no, NPO siya. Then you do the gastric aspirate lang isa-suction mo lang. So very invasive siya, nakakaawa din yung pasyente. So in these cases, pwede nating gawin yung stool. So nagpa-pilot na ang Lourdes at saka JBL for stool gene expert. Pero hindi pa siya open para sa ibang facility. Okay? And nakakakita pa kami ng maraming error. Plus, medyo magastos siya sa gene expert cartridge kasi regardless of the result, kailangan mong ulitin. Okay? So, yun. So, you can read on this. Meron ng guidelines. Or I can even, I can share you yung stool gene expert kung interesado kayo. Stool gene expert interim guidelines from the NTRL. Okay? Hindi pala ako naka-full, no? Kaya pala hindi ko nakikita yung ko. Hindi ako naka-full screen. Tama ba
Hindi
ako?
pa, Doc. Oo. Pero okay naman, Doc. Akala ko kasi, Doc, mahirapan kayo.
Hindi ko realize, hinahanap ko yung ko. Hinahanap ko yung anong tawag, highlight. Ayun.
Sige, ma'am.
Kaya pala hindi pala ako naka-full screen. Anyway. So, yun. So, tapos na tayo dyan. So, we go to the follow-on. So, anong difference ng follow-on at saka follow-up? So the follow-on diagnostic test, sinong makaka-differentiate between a follow-on and a follow-up? So, kung hindi kayo familiar, sige. Ang follow-on is after you diagnose the patient with drug-resistant TB, you do a follow-on test to detect other, resistance to other drugs, aside from rifampicin. Kasi alam natin na yung gene expert, rifampicin lang talaga yung dinedetect niya. Okay? Okay. Mamaya natin tong sagutin, ha, yung mga questions nyo. Okay. So, follow on. So, after the gene expert, mag-XDR test. Kasi, ano yung XDR test? It can detect isoniazid resistance, fluoroquinolone, second-line injectable like amikacin, and streptomycin, and also the ethionamide and prothionamide, and of course the fluoroquinolone, levofloxacin and moxifloxacin. So kung non-converter ka, halimbawa DSTB ka, hindi automatic ang follow-on test sa DSTB. So kasi masyado siyang mahal. So ginamot mo yung patient ng DSTB treatment, after intensive phase, na kailangan mong mag-repeat smear microscopy to know whether nag-convert na yung patient, pero positive pa rin. That's the time that you use the XDR kasi baka isoniazid resistant siya. Sa DRTB naman, if you're using BPL-M, tapos kasi BPL-M is bedaquiline petomanid, linezolid and moxifloxacin. Moxifloxacin is a fluoroquinolone. So kung may nakadetect kang resistance sa fluoroquinolone, you can just drop moxifloxacin para malesen yung toxicity sa patient. So yun yung purpose ng follow-on test. Now before, we're using line probe assays. Kaso masyadong hindi siya low complexity, moderate complexity to kasi kailangan mo pa siya ng tawag dito, ng molecular lab para magkaroon ka ng line probe assay. So meron pa rin ng machine, may 3 machine sa Pilipinas na hindi na masyadong ginagamit. Pero pag naubusan ng XDR cartridge, iyon, pag may stocks ng line probe assay, doon namin pinapagawa. No? Itong dalawa, wala pa. And we have the TNGS. Ito na yung pinakabago ngayon, no? the targeted new generation sequencing na it can detect a lot of resistance, no? Rapid din siya, no? In 3 to 5 days malalaman mo na yung resistance. And hindi pa natin to, hindi pa siya part ng National TB program, pero I think meron na siya sa National TB Reference Lab na for research lang, and the Tropical Disease Foundation. Nakita ko na yung machine niya. Okay? So very promising itong ano na to. Ay, ayaw. Ayaw naman siyang gumalaw. Ayun. Okay, so just a brief overview of this targeted new generation sequencing. No, it improves recommended resistance. Tignan mo sa isang salang mo lang nagawa mo na si GeneXpert, nagawa mo na si XDR, no. So may rifampicin, INH, fluoroquinolone, pyrazinamide, and ethambutol na hindi pyrazinamide is not usually part of DSTB even sa culture natin dito sa Pilipinas, no, yung phenotypic natin hindi kasama si PSCA or not reliable, no. So yun din. So napakadami, no. So kung magiging ito na yung ating diagnostic test, mas maigi. Kaya lang napakamahal niya. Okay. So genotypic DST, sorry, ito na tayo. So what is the difference between a phenotypic DST and a genotypic DST? So yung mga nabanggit natin kanina are all genotypic DST, including yung XDR and expert rifampicin and expert XDR test, no, mga genotypic sila. So they are molecular, no, detection of resistance. They are rapid. Rapid results can be in hours sa GeneXpert. 2 hours may result na. Sa TNGS 3 to 5 hours, 3 days I think. Kasi may iba pang process pero mabilis lang din yan. I might be wrong. So and this is very important for early treatment decisions, no? Ano naman yung ating phenotypic DST, no? This is still the gold standard. So pag may nakita ka na DST and GeneXpert result, no? So pwede minsan may concordance, may discordance sila. So ano yung pipiliin mo? Yung result ng culture or result ng hindi ko makita. Yun. Okay. So ano yung pipiliin mo? Result ng phenotypic DST or genotypic DST? So ito nandito na kasi. So kaya siya gold standard kasi it confirms TB in the presence of anti-TB drug. So nilagay mo na, i-combine mo na yung TB drug. So sure na sure ka dun sa resistance pattern niya. Compared with genotypic na specimen pa lang to. Tinitignan mo pa lang yung DNA ng bacteria, saan siya nanggaling. So, meron tayong yung mga whole genome sequencing na tinatawag, no? Kung saan may mga generation yung TB, minsan may common na generation dito sa Pilipinas, sa Southeast Asia, at saka sa Europe. So, magkakaiba. So, yun yung mga nadedetect nila. Pero yung culture kasi, nakakombine na yung anti-TB drug. So, alam mo, na resistant talaga siya kasi hindi siya nagkaroon ng growth dun sa particular plate na merong ganong gamot. Okay? So, yun. So, kaya siya gold standard. Okay. So, in the Philippines, we have all this, no? Ito lang, yung nasa right side. Ito yung mga test na meron na tayo ngayon. And we also have MIDCHIT, no, DST for BPAL drugs, bedaquiline, pretomanid, and pero ano lang, for request lang siya, special request for galing from the TB Medical Advisory Committee, lalo na kung previously exposed na yung patient sa mga gamot na to. And this is the laboratory request form that we are using in the National TB program. Okay? So, yun lang. Ito yun sa Philippines, no? So, we have the GeneXpert. Ito yung amount ng sputum. When we have the expert XDR as the follow-on test. And we have the smear microscopy and TB culture as the follow-up test. So, follow-up, this is done at baseline monthly. And depending on the regimen, kung sa BPAL monthly yan, pag longer regimen, up to some time, no, after 6 months, bi-monthly na lang yung test. So, yun siya. And these are the types of TB based on the DST. So, we already have, hindi nakikita yung isa. So, hindi nakikita. So, anyway, sa pre-XDR, this is resistant to fluoroquinolone only. This is the new definition. And for XDR, it's resistant to fluoroquinolone and to other group A drugs like bedaquiline and delamine. So, yun yung difference nila ng pre-XDR tsaka XDR. Okay? So, treatment. Any questions sa diagnostic? Parang may tanong tayo sa chat. Doktor,
Yes,
Doc,
Doc.
oo,
May
pwedeng itanong.
question lang po si Doc
Ah.
Nico from
Ah.
TMC Ortigas po, Doc.
Opo.
Doc Eileen, good morning. Regarding
Yes.
repetition of your campus expert assay, which returns MTB not detected, but with high suspicion of MTB, when would you repeat the second test? Kunyari, Doc, na patagawa pa tapos
Immediately.
negative. Pero sa iyo kasi parang mukhang clinically mo ang TB talaga, pero nag-negative kasi sa MTB. Kailan daw niya pwede pa-repeat ulit yung TB test?
As soon as possible. Oo.
So
Kung
pwede
talagang
repeat
highly
agad, Doc?
suspicious. Yes, kasi lalo na pero kung halimbawa, highly suspicious for TB, MTB not detected, pero hindi naman siya high risk for drug-resistant TB, you can treat the patient already, di ba? Pwede ka nang mag-treat agad ng DSTB, no? As clinically diagnosed TB siya. Pero kung highly suspicious for drug-resistant TB, then you can do the test. Yun nga yung gray area kasi, mahirap mag-decide kasi baka nag-overtreat ka, di ba? Oo.
Yes,
So, you have to think not only twice, 3 times. Ako, minsan, talaga, tinatanong nila, paano ka ba nag-iisip? Hindi siya dekahon. No, kailangan ulit-ulitin. Oo, kasi nga, ang toxic ng mga gamot. So, gagamutin. Ang dami namin nakikitang clinically diagnosed TB, tapos i-refer naman sa amin for hypersensitivity or transaminase. So, ganun din. So, minsan sabi ko, wag na munang gamutin, nahihirapan yung pasyente. Anyway, negative naman yung gene expert. Or pinapaulit namin yung gene expert. Kung negative pa rin talaga, wag na munang gamutin yan. Hindi naman kailangan pa. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Doc. Doc, nag-raise ng hand po si Marvin. From
Yes,
TMC.
Dr. Marvin.
Ay, Doc. Mag-ask lang ako ng insights mo. Kasi po yung practice ko is sa HIV treatment hub. And a lot of the times, meron kaming mga presumptive TB, then pinapa-MTB risk, tapos magiging MTB not detected. But clinically, dinadiagnose pa rin namin depending kung may high suspicious naman of TB. And sometimes kasi walang means for private medication si patient. So, i-refer namin sa TB dots. Kaso, there are times na hindi pinagbibigyan na mag-start ng medication kapag MTB not detected.
PLHIV kasi to, di ba? Iba kasi ang
Yes, po, Doc.
treatment. Sabi ko sa'yo, iba yung treatment natin sa PLHIV. Kasi mas aggressive tayo. Tama ka naman doon. Siguro lang, lagyan nyo ng sulat. Baka hindi naman dinadivulge ng pasyente na HIV siya nung lumapit siya doon sa center. Diba? Yun yung problema. Kasi kung nakita ni center na, or nakita ng doctor nila, oy, PLHIV to. So, alam naman natin na kailangan maging aggressive. Ang tanong, sinabi niya. Diba? Or dapat may letter talaga sa inyo. I-defend nyo dun sa letter why you are considering treatment. Tapos, pangalawa, kung ilang beses na yung treat, no? Yun nga actually yung decision whether to give TPT after treatment.
Yes, po, Doc.
Isa pa yun mamaya pag-uusapan. Oo. Pero kasi titingnan mo rin yung environment niya. Although alam natin na ang goal natin sa HIV patients, maging quote-unquote normal individual sila sa society. So hinahayaan natin silang magtrabaho. Pero kailangan nating i-remind sa kanila na kung high risk yung area, then we might decide to give the TPT. Even after treatment. Kasi pwede sila talagang mahama ng numerous times, no? And yun nagkakaroon na ng resistance. Doon nagde-develop ng resistance. Ayun.
Thank you so
Okay. Okay. So, treatment. So, anong alam nyo na ano ngayon na management ng DSTB, sa DSTB? Ano na pa rin yung ginagamit natin? Siguro familiar na kayo
HRZE,
dito,
Doc.
no? Sa HRZE. So, ilang months ang intensive? Ilang months ang intensive?
2 months.
HRZE.
2
2
months, yeah.
months.
And
Then 4
months.
months yung continuation phase. Yun yung regimen 1, no? Sa ano. Then, kung may CNS, bones and joints, you can extend the continuation phase. Or sa NTP, ang ginagamit na nila ngayon, maintenance phase, up to 10 months for a total of 12 months of treatment. So, yun pa rin, no? Pero makikita natin ngayon sa WHO, iba na yung, medyo may iba na silang guidelines. Okay? Sa WHO to, sa Pilipinas, wala pa. So, ito yung WHO recommended treatment for DSTD. So, we have the 6-month standard. Ito, yung, it still is the gold standard of treatment, no? Strong recommendation pa rin ito, yung 6-month standard. Kasi ito na yung proven na mataas talaga yung treatment success rate pa rin, no? So, ko na masyadong ano yan. We use the FDC tablets, no, to lessen the number of pills. Okay? Pero in case of anong tawag dito, in case of adverse event, we modify, no? So, doon na hindi na pwedeng gamitin yung mga fixed dose combination natin or FDCs. Nag-i-individualize na tayo. So, yung nga yung binanggit ko kanina, after 2 months, kung positive pa rin ang smear, then we re-evaluate, no? Do another gene expert test kasi baka na-miss lang yung resistance nung initial kahit na 98% ang sensitivity or specificity ng gene expert. Hindi pa rin natin masasabi, baka may error pa rin or baka during the 2 months nagkaroon ng acquired resistance, nagkaroon ng DRTB. So we have to repeat the gene expert. Then we have to do the XDR test, no, just to make sure na hindi rin siya isoniazid. Meron kasi din, if you're familiar with the isoniazid mono-resistant treatment, na susceptible pa rin sa rifampicin pero resistant sa isoniazid. So, magba-back to zero pa rin yung pasyente nun. So, ito yung mga bagong gamot. We have the 4-month adult shorter regimen using the isoniazid, rifampicin, no, instead of rifampicin. Pero ano rin yan, kapinsan pa rin yan, ka-drug class pa rin ni rifampicin. Moxifloxacin and pyrazinamide. Ito, hindi pa to ginagamit sa Pilipinas. Okay? And the 4-month child shorter regimen for children 3 months to 16 years old, non-severe TB. So later we will be defining, no, what is non-severe TB. This is 4 months and this is already implemented in the National TB program. Kaya lang, nagkakaproblema pa rin yung mga definition or how to say, no, how to decide how to evaluate whether a patient has severe or non-severe TB, no? So yun yung problema ng ating mga pediatricians. Okay. And other regimens, no, for special populations, yung TB, HIV comorbidity, no, the same naman yan. Just be careful with kasi wala namang drug-to-drug interaction yung HRZE sa mga ART natin. However, no, yung initiation of treatment will depend on the stage of HIV. So si Dr. Sino ba yung doctor kanina? Si Dr. Marvin ba? Yung sa HIV hub.
Yes,
No,
po,
you
Doc.
have yun. So kailangan mong aralin or meron akong slide tungkol sa TB HIV no, when to give the ART, no, after a TB treatment, no, lalo na kung TB meningitis kasi pwede ka mag-develop ng iris. Okay, so yun aralin na lang natin yun. Then sa DRTB meds naman, there is a drug-to-drug interaction between bedaquiline and anong tawag dito? Anong ginagamit? Anong tawag dyan? At naiisip ko yung dolutegravir. Yung LTD, no, because of the, ano na yung gamot na yun? Nakalimutan tuloy. na mind ano ko. The efavirenz, sorry. The efavirenz, no? May drug-to-drug interaction si bedaquiline, which is the core drug of DRTB. Halos lahat ng and I think hindi lang halos lahat ng standard regimen for DRTB may bedaquiline sa ngayon, no, except for ITR. So, kung ang pasyente HIV, you have to be careful in giving efavirenz. So, kailangan palitan. Although, alam ko ngayon sa mga HIV hubs, LTD na talaga yung ginagamit kasi nakita na mas effective siya kaysa sa efavirenz. So, wala tayong problema doon. Ang problema sa dolutegravir, no, may drug-to-drug interaction siya with rifampicin.
Rifampicin.
Oo. So that's why you have to add another tablet ng dolutegravir. Although dun sa recent, hindi pa nilalabas ng WHO, gumawa sila ng study between those given additional drug of dolutegravir and those given pareho lang. So parang sinasabi ng study na to na whether you add dolutegravir or not, wala naman siyang ganung effect, no? Okay pa rin yung pasyente. So hindi pa to lumalabas, pero sa WHO guidelines nag-a-add pa rin sila ng 50 mg na dolutegravir kung naka-HRZE. Okay? So actually sa WHO guidelines, meningitis daw, sabi nila you can treat for 12 months, parang optional na rin lang din, you can extend the treatment. And if it's osteoarticular, you have to extend it to 9 months. Pero sa WHO lang to. Sa NTP, for CNS, bones and joints, para mas, na lang din, mas pattern para sa lahat, we have to extend it to 12 months, total of 12 months of treatment. Okay? And another recommendation here, na ginagawa na rin namin, we can add corticosteroids, no? If you have pericarditis, TB pericarditis and TB meningitis. Ito kasi mga prone din to develop TB iris. May mga sinasabi na rin sila ngayong TB iris. Or kung may HIV ang pasyente, yan, very prone sa so you have to use the steroids. You have to give steroids. Okay? So ito yung sa NTB updates. So ito lang yung mga ginagamit nating regimen sa ngayon. And ang pinakabago, yung 4-month treatment regimen na recommended for children 3 months up to 16 years of age for non-severe TB. Okay? So what is non-severe TB? So non-severe TB is defined as peripheral lymph node TB, no? Intrathoracic without airway obstruction, uncomplicated TB pleural effusion. Ito yung hindi massive, no? Yung mga minimal lang na TB effusion. Or postbacillary. Alam naman natin ang children, lalo na yung maliliit na bata, they are postbacillary talaga kasi maliliit yung lungs. Non-cavitary. So pagka ang x-ray ng pasyente hanggang 16 yan, no, cavitary na agad, so hindi pwede ang 4 months treatment. Or confined to one lobe. So upper lobe lang ang involved, so baka pwede pa, and without a miliary pattern. So ito yung mga non-severe TB. Okay? So after discussing the DSTB treatment, let me give you a background of DRTB. So the regimens for DRTB continues to evolve over the past decade. So from 1999, ang binibigyan natin is the 20-24-month injectable-based regimen. Yun pa yung levofloxacin, na meron kang kanamycin, meron kang anong tawag dito? Ano pa yung gamot nila? Kanamycin, levofloxacin, cycloserine, and acer or prothionamide. Yun pa. So, injectable base sila. Then in 2017, nakadevelop sila ng 9-month injectable base. This is the SSTR. Meron pa rin siya. May kanamycin, capreomycin. Then, shinip siya sa modified na instead of kanamycin kasi ang dami ng resistance at saka toxicity, pinalitan ng amikacin na mas toxic naman din. No? It can cause nephrotoxicity at saka nephrotoxicity and ototoxicity. So nakakabingi. Maraming patients from those times na until now, they are still suffering from hearing issues, no, hearing problems. So, noong 2020, nagkaroon na ng bedaquiline base. So, tinanggal na yung injectable. 9 months all-oral regimen na siya with bedaquiline. Pero, 17 to 20 tablets naman pa rin yung regimen niya. So, natanggal nga yung injectable, nadagdagan naman yung tableta. And we still have the 18-month all-oral regimen kapag hindi na siya pwede sa 9 months. Then, after 2021, 2021, nag-operational research. Tapos 2022, nag-release na si WHO ng guidelines on the use of the 6-month all-oral regimen na 5 to 7 tablets na lang siya compared with 17 to 20 tablets of the all-oral. Okay, so these are the WHO recommended regimens. So we have the 6-month BPAL regimen. Meron na rin yung BIT-TB regimen or the bedaquiline, delamide, levofloxacin, linezolid, clofazimine. No? 6 months yan. And the 9 months all-oral regimen, mamaya babanggitin natin what's the difference between the 6 months BPAL-M and the BIT-TB. Then the 9-month all-oral regimen and the modified 9-month all-oral regimen, dami na, no? And 18-month longer regimen or the individualized treatment regimen. And the H-resistant, RIF-susceptible, ito yung isoniazid, monoresistant TB regimen. Okay? Okay, sobrang ang tagal ko na pala. Just, pabilisin ko na lang. So, just to emphasize, no, yung key factors on deciding on the treatment regimen or the treatment of choice will be the drug resistance profile, prior exposure to TB medicines, if it's more than 1 month of exposure, no? Kung wala kang DST pattern, no, yun na lang yung basis mo. Drug resistance profile of close contacts, lalo na kung bata kasi mahirap magkaroon ng positive result. Then you will rely on the drug resistance pattern of the close contact. Patient's age, no? Because at this time, yung BPAL-M, hanggang 14 years old lang ang pwedeng bigyan. And extent of pulmonary TB disease. There are regimens na hindi pwede sa severe pulmonary disease. And if it's disseminated, no, nasa CNS, bones and joints, miliary TB, ang shorter regimen, hindi talaga siya pwede. Okay? So what are the basis of the BPAL-M? So we have 3 trials, the NICS trial, TB Practical, and ZNICS. So may safety profile yan, yung BPAL. So dito sa NICS trial, BPAL lang, walang moxifloxacin. Kaya lang, ang ginagamit nilang linezolid dito is 1,200 mg or the 2 tablets. No? Ginamit pa namin to, sobrang toxic talaga siya. So they proceed with the study of doing another study, the TB Practical, combining the BPAL with moxifloxacin and clofazimine. So you can see here that the treatment success rate is highest when the BPAL is combined with moxifloxacin. And here they already use the 600 mg. Some use this 1,200 mg, some use the 600 mg. And then the CNICS trial, because of the toxicity noted, no, in the 1,200 mg linezolid during the NICS trial, they optimize the linezolid dosing. So mayroon silang different arms, yung isa 1,200 mg, yung isa 600, then i-decrease nila sa 300, yung isa 300 na lang. So ang nakita nila, pinakamataas yung success rate, actually dun pa rin sa 1,200 mg, but very close naman yung 600 mg. And ang pinaka-significant dito, yung tolerance ng patient. Mas bumaba yung adverse events at mas marami yung nagko-continue ng treatment. Okay? So that's why we have the BPAL-M now. So these are, siguro familiar din kayo to, nasa MOP6 to. As you can see here, yung BPAL-M, mostly nasa group A drug. So very effective siya. So kapag ang patient nag-lost to follow-up or nag-fail sa BPAL-M or BPAL drugs, at exposed na sila, syempre, ang matitira sa'yo, ito na lang mga nasa baba. And as we know, as they go down, no, as we go down to this grouping, mas lumiliit, no, mas bumababa yung effectivity rate ng mga gamot, no? Hindi na sila ganoon ka-effective, no, sa TB. Kaya ito remove. So kapag nagdi-design ka, you still choose the most effective drug. So kung pwede pa yung group A mo, gamitin mo pa yung group A mo, then go to group B, then kung wala na talagang iba, group C. Then minsan nagsasabi na rin ako na palliative to kasi weak na yung regimen mo. So, uh, there's a big chance na mag-fail pa rin yung treatment kahit na mabigyan kita ng gamot. Okay? So this is just the overview of the clinical trials no na nangyayari at this time no. Here in the Philippines, we're doing yung ginagawa kong clinical trial or gagawin pa lang, actually mag-open pa lang kami is the Quabo Depistat. So nasa phase 3 na siya ngayon. So 7 countries, 4 sites in the Philippines. Then next year, gagawin yung sulfa which will be hopefully will replace no bedaquiline kasi dumadami na rin yung resistance sa bedaquiline. I think this is the sudapiridine. I think tama ba ako? Pero sulfa yun eh. Or nasa number pa siya. Anyway, ito lang po yun just to give you an example. So for drug-resistant TB in the Philippines, this is the trend. No, we started with the long regimens with the second-line injectable, and then we adopted the all-oral regimen, the 9 months, and hindi talaga siya nag-aano ito. Sorry. Gusto ko mag-highlighter yan. So yun. So ito, makikita natin dito yung success rate no at the beginning of DRTB here in the Philippines. No, si Dr. Tupasi pa yan, tsaka si Dr. Mamel Quelapio nag-start no sa Tropical Disease Foundation. 64% pa lang no yung treatment success rate. Tapos bumababa pa kasi very toxic siya, tsaka very long no. At this time naka halfway house pa yung mga pasyente sa Kasaka no sa PPSI. So tumitira yung mga pasyente doon kasi doon lang may gamutan. So wala sa ibang region. So may mga nagagaling pa sa mga south na nagagamot din. No, as we proceed no nung naging oral regimen siya, naging 80% na yung success rate. And in the DIPAL operational research, 98% ang treatment success rate. But of course, research yon no, mas bantay sarado yung pasyente. And now, actually, ang nagiging problema sa BPAL-M, not the effectivity of the drugs, pero yung management, no? Kasi binaba na siya sa mga IDOTS facilities. So, sobrang busy daw sila, so hindi nila natututukan yung mga pasyente. So, madalas, pag nagkaroon ng adverse event, hindi na nila nire-report, tapos nawawala na lang yung pasyente. Okay? So, ito lang yung evolution from the MOP 6th edition, hindi pa naman nagagawa yung 7th edition, pero nag-release na sila ng key updates based on the what is released in the Omnibus Health Guidelines no of the Department of Health. And in the general consideration, ito dapat. So BPAL-M pa rin yung pinaka no most preferred standard regimen. So doon ka pa lang, check mo yung eligibility ni patient for BPAL-M. Kung hindi siya eligible, then that's the time you proceed with the next one, which is the 9-month regimen. Eh kung hindi pa rin siya eligible doon based on the criteria, doon ka na sa IPR. Okay? So ganun siya. So may mga anong tawag dito? May mga dahil bagong-bago pang regimen ng BPAL-M, hindi siya pwede sa bata at saka sa pregnant, no? Sa less than 14 at saka sa pregnant women just because na hindi sila nakasama during the clinical trial. So wala tayong way of knowing kung magkakaroon ba ng side effect itong gamot na to, especially with the newest drug Petomanid. Kasi yung bedaquiline, linezolid, moxifloxacin, nakita na nila na wala namang ganoong side effect sa pregnant women at saka sa children. Pero yung Petomanid wala pa. So, ito pa lang yung mga ginagawang mga clinical trial and hopefully magamit na natin. Okay? Okay. Sa Philippines, ito na yung regimen nomenclature natin. So, from the previous DRTB regimens, no, SSOR, SLOR, FQS, ito na siya. So, BPAL-M na yung isa, tapos yung SSOR nandyan pa rin. Then, we have the CTR, FQS, or the regimen for children, and CTR-FQR. And we have the HRTB regimen and the ITR. So yung child treatment regimen is very unique in the Philippines, no? Hindi siya sa WHO. So nung pinag-uusapan yung paggamit ng regimen na to, excuse me, sandali lang. Nakita namin yung need na magkaroon din kasi parang napaka-toxic nung 9-month regimen for children, di ba? Ang daming pills, tapos bata. So ito yung recommendation, no? May ibang countries din na meron silang child treatment regimen, pero ito yung atin. Okay? And the duration of treatment will depend whether the disease is non-severe or severe. Okay? So kung non-severe, 9 to 12 months, kung severe, 15 to 18 months. O depende na kung fluoroquinolone susceptible or fluoroquinolone resistant. So ito lang yung algorithm, no? Flowchart kung paano diagnose and treat ng DRTB. So here, kung hindi na talaga siya, so sa SSOR, kasi nga hindi pwedeng DPAL-M natin. So ang only option natin is SSOR. Kaso yung 9-month treatment regimen na dati, may prothionamide siya, which can be toxic, no, sa pregnant women. So meron ginawa ang WHO na linezolid variant. So may SSOR with linezolid and SSOR with prothionamide. However, dahil linezolid siya, you have to be careful whether the patient has severe anemia, severe peripheral neuropathy, or optic neuritis kasi hindi mo rin siya pwedeng ibigay. Okay? So, kung hindi mo pa rin maibigay ang SSOR, then you may need to consult the TB Medical Advisory Committee for the design of the individualized treatment regimen. So, in this regimen, we need to compose at least 4 likely effective drugs. Likely effective drugs meaning it is effective based on DST and the exposure of the drugs is less than 1 month. No? So, mahirap talaga mag-decide dito, lalo na kung marami ng exposure yung patient. And after the completion of the 6 to 8 months of treatment, dapat ang maiwan mo is 3 drugs. Kung kukulangin ka because of the adverse events, you have to add 1 more para maging 3 pa rin. And if you think na yung 4 drugs mo, hindi siya ganun ka-strong o hindi siya ganun ka-effective, you can add more, no? Pwede ka mag-add ng 5, pwedeng pang-6 pa. You can even add the injectable kung sa tingin mo mas kailangan ng pasyente. Kasi nga sabi ko, the regimen of last resort na to. Last chance na si patient. And most of the time, sinasabihan na namin sila na refer to palliative, no? Kasi most likely, no, wala nang susunod na regimen para sa kanya. Sobrang hirap na or very weak na yung regimen. Okay? Any questions sa treatment? Okay, so the last topic is prevention. May question ba sa treatment?
Here naman, Doc, wala rin questions,
Okay.
Doc, sa chat box natin.
Okay, sige. So, we now go to prevention. So, yung prevention, it can overlap, no? Actually, it can go in parallel with the other cascade of care, no? Kasi pwede kang mag-prevent even before the screening or during the treatment, no? Yung prevention niya can come across all these cascades of care. Okay? So, TB preventive treatment. So, what is latent TB infection? So, we now classify the types of TB. So, kanina nabanggit ko na, is the TB active or not? Kasi TB pa rin yun. Pero, kung hindi siya active, you don't need to treat, di ba? Kasi kung nakita mo siya sa x-ray na lesion, hindi mo talaga alam, buhay pa to or ano lang to, remnant or scar from previous treatment. May mga nakita pa nga ako, never na-treat, no? Pero 10 taon na yung lesion na yon, hindi nawawala. So, wala. Okay lang siya. Parang naging peklat na. So, ibig sabihin lang, mas malakas pa rin yung immune system niya to fight the bacteria. Kasi alam nyo naman yung pathophysiology niya, no? Na may mga Gons complex, may mga kino-confine ng body to a space, tapos pinapatay niya doon. So, kung malakas yung immune system ni patient, no? Nagiging inactive yung TB. or hindi na siya kumakalat. Okay? So, an active TB, no, a patient with active TB daw can infect up to 10 to 15 other people, no, through close contact per year. So, marami to. So, kung may 10 kang patients, times 10, 100 patients na yung nahawaan niya. Okay, sa isang taon. Okay? And kung about 10% dun sa mga na-infect, no, ito yung LTBA kasi wala pa siyang symptoms, wala pa sa x-ray. Okay? So about 10% of these infected persons will develop TB disease, no, later on in their lifetime. No, minsan after 2 years may patient ako, ginagamot namin yung asawa niya ng DRTB, tapos nag-screen kami, negative siya. So wala naman kaming preventive treatment at that time for DRTB. So after 2 years, bumalik siya naman na yung may sakit. No? Kasi nag-develop siya ng diabetes. So siya na, DRTB na rin siya. So ang lang namin, kasi yung asawa niya wala na eh. Kahit nung in-screen namin yung uli yung asawa niya, hindi na nag-relapse. Magaling na talaga siya. Okay, so mukhang nakuha, TB infected siya before, tapos humina ang immune system, nag-develop siya ng TB disease. So ganun lang siya. Okay? So for the preventive treatment for DSTB, the target group, ngayon, dati kasi, ang pini-preventive treatment lang natin, ano lang, under 5, tsaka PLHIV, no? Pero ngayon, lahat na, household contacts of DSTB patients, people living with HIV and other high-risk groups, no? So paano natin malalaman kung infected sila? Hindi ko na nalagay dito sa lecture na to. We can use the TST. So yun na yung purpose ng tuberculin test. So nalaman ko lang na yung European countries pala hindi nila kilala yung tuberculin test, hindi na pala nila ginagamit. Tayo na lang pala. So yung latest ngayon for detection of LTBI is the IGRA. So meron sigurong IGRA ang PMC. Meron? Meron po ba? Pero mahal, no? Ang alam ko, nasa 12,000 siya eh. 7,000 to 12,000 per test. May IGRA ba ang PMC?
Doc, so Clark, parang di pa namin narinig. Di line namin sure sa Ortigas baka meron.
Okay.
Sa
So,
Ortigas ba?
nanghuli si PMC,
Nakinig.
Parang sa Clark Doc, said out.
Parang
Alam ko.
send out
Pagli
lagi.
lang sila ng machine. I-recommend ako sa inyo si Blue Cross. Papuntahin ko dyan. So, yung IGRA, kasi lalo na kung meron kayong mga kailangan i-contact trace ng mga contacts, kasi may pera naman sila, so they can pay. Tapos gusto nyong bigyan ng TB preventive treatment, pwedeng IGRA. Okay? So, kung nag-positive siya sa IGRA, tapos expose siya, then you can start the TB preventive treatment. Ganon din naman kasi sa TST. Negative ang x-ray, negative ang symptoms, pero contact, tapos nagkaroon siya ng positive tuberculin test, then na siya, binibigyan na namin ng TB preventive treatment. And these are the currently used, no, WHO. Hindi lahat ito ginagamit sa Pilipinas. So, we have I think we have the 1HP. Yung rifampicin, narinig nyo kanina yung rifampicin na ginagamit na for DSTB treatment. Pero sa atin, hindi pa. No? Pero sa TB preventive treatment, gumagamit na tayo ng HP or the isoniazid rifampicin. No? Dole out pa rin yan. Donation pa rin. Kasi masyadong mahal. So ito yung mga guidelines. So daily isoniazid rifampicin for 1 month or once a week, isoniazid rifampicin for 3 months, once a week, based on weight ito. And we can also use isoniazid rifampicin, although ito medyo, ako, not really, si Marvin. Marvin, yes?
Doc, tanong ko lang yung sa daily isoniazid rifampicin. Ilang tablets per daily?
Ano pa rin, i-compute, 1 tablet to.
1 tablet. Kasi doon sa
1
3HP
tablet
Doc,
to.
di ba? 3 tablets weekly.
Depende, oo. It can range from 1 to 3 tablets based on weight. Oo, less than 30 kg, one tab lang, di ba? Oo.
Yes po to.
Oo, kasi masyadong toxic sa liver. You have to screen yung LFTs ng patient. Meron na akong patient na nagkamali yung RH, binigyan nila ng 3 tablets daily for 2 weeks. Napagkamulan nila na HRZE kasi magkamuka. So, pagdating sa akin, naninilaw na. Dilaw na yung patient. So, nag-transaminitis na. Okay, so
Kasi
yun,
Dok,
yun siya.
yung 3 HP, although meron pa dinodonate na sa amin pa unti-unti,
Mm-mm.
recommended namin siya yung sa mga marami nang iniinom na gamot
Yes,
na
oo.
yung
Oo, pero
para mas
ano,
konti.
yes, pero ano, make sure na na okay ang liver enzymes. Medyo matapang talaga siya. Sa Philippines, hindi tayo nagbibigay ng 1 HP eh, 3 HP lang. At saka yung 6H. Hesitant pa rin akong gumamit ng 3HR. Pero ang recommended talaga 3 HP and 6H. Okay, 6H. Mm-mm. Okay, so yun. Nagkakaubusan na nga rin ng 3 HP. Pero marami pa tayong isoniazid. So, kung wala kayo dyan, pwede kaming magbigay. Okay? Then for TRTB, we have the levofloxacin preventive treatment, no? Pero, as you see, no, levofloxacin is part of the DRTB regimens. And kung ang XDR result ng index mo, index is the source, no, yung patient na may sakit, is fluoroquinolone resistant, then hindi natin pwedeng gamitin ito. So it is only recommended for contacts of index with fluoroquinolone susceptible. So dapat proven susceptible sa levofloxacin yung index niya bago mo bigyan yung contact. Okay? Yun. So sa Philippines din, nag-start na rin tayo. Marami ng pilot sites for levofloxacin preventive treatment. Okay. So eligible individuals are all age groups. So ito yon. Yun, binanggit ko na to. And levofloxacin is given 1 tab daily for 6 months. Yan. Ito yung report ng Central Luzon, no? 50,000 na daw. Pero ito at this time, wala pang levofloxacin dito. Ito pa lang yung sa ano. Kasi ito na yung pinupush ng WHO and NTP. Kung hindi daw makuha dun sa treatment, kasi ang daming pumapalya sa gamutan, bakit hindi natin i-push yung preventive treatment? Kasi mas matipid, kasi mas konti yung gamot. Hindi pa nagkakasakit yung pasyente, binibigyan mo na ng gamot, no? No, konti pa lang yung bacteria niya sa katawan, binibigyan mo na ng gamot. So mas cost effective siya. And of course, yung worsening ng infection mape-prevent mo, no, kapag in-start mo siya ng TB preventive treatment. So yun yung mga ano niya. So I think that's the last slide. Oo. So thank you very much. Marami akong hindi tinanggal pa kasi maybe sa susunod kung gusto niyong pag-usapan uli, merong TB CKD, TB diabetes, TB, ano ba yung mga modules namin sa PeerLink? TB HIV, TB diabetes modified, drug susceptible TB or yung other TB. Yun, may mga ibang topics pa na pwedeng pag-usapan. Kasi very complicated ang TB. Hindi pa tayo nag-discuss ng adverse events. No?
Yes.
Hindi pa tayo nag-discuss ng adverse events. Kasi yun yung pinaka-important, yun yung reason bakit maraming pasyenteng naglo-lost to follow-up. Oo.
Yun po. Thank you, Doc Irene. Super appreciate po namin tong lecture nito. Ang dami po para nagkaroon ng clarification, especially po dun sa pag-manage. Marami ko kasi sa amin parang tinitreat lang yung TB, tapos hindi na po nag inform na may manage kami yung TB. Pangalawa,
Yes.
Doc, parang
Oo.
another learning din from us. Yung mga bagong parang regimen, yung 4 for adult, 4 for pedia. Pero yung advice pa rin natin 6 months pa rin, Doc. I think may ano lang, Doc. Ako, Doc, parang may personal question lang, Doc. Hindi ko lang na sure, Doc. If yung latent TB, Doc, iti-treat ba? Or kung wala namang active na symptoms, hindi mo na iti-treat? Kunyari parang,
Latent TB infection is the one given TB preventive treatment.
okay. So,
Oo.
TB preventive
Kasi,
medicine.
yeah, yun yung LTBI or those contacts na may infection na pero walang disease. Wala kasi yung
Okay.
dapat ma-distinguish natin yung TB infections tsaka TB disease. TB disease kasi yun yung may symptoms,
Yes.
meron ng gene expert result, yun na. Ito namang si latent TB, ito yung walang x-ray result, walang symptoms, exposed, at positive
Yes.
sa TST. O yun siya yung latent. So parang natutulog yung bacteria sa kanya, hindi pa siya nagiging
That's
active active, but it can be
Agree, Doc.
active, di ba? Sabi nga, 10% out of that. Paano kung ikaw yung 10% na mag-develop? Like yung patient ko na binanggit kanina, wala siyang
Mm-mm.
TB, latent pa lang siguro nung time na na-expose siya sa husband niya. Then after 2 years, nagkaroon siya ng diabetes, naging active yung LTBI niya, naging active disease. And unfortunately, at that time kasi nung ginamot namin yung husband, wala pang preventive treatment. So,
Yes.
yun.
Okay, thank you, Doc, for the clarification. Sobrang daming learnings for this morning. I hope kahit yung Ortigas yung Doc, very active din, Doc. So, very, very happy.
Oo nga.
Um,
Alam mo, hindi ko nga nabanggit yung BIT-TB kasi very promising siya. Kasi di ba yung BPAL-M,
yes,
hindi
Doc.
siya pwede sa pregnant and, parang wala yung slide. Pero may slide ako doon. Kung i-share ko sa inyo, meron yung slide na may yes, 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 no, ano yung pwedeng bigyan. Yung BIT-TB or the 6-month bedaquiline, linezolid, levofloxacin, um, dilamanid and clofazimine, ito yung ibibigay sa children and pregnant women instead of Bipal. Pinalitan yung petomanid ng dilamanid. Oo, kaya lang mas expensive kasi very expensive yung dilamanid. Pero at least we have options. We have a shorter regimen option for children and pregnant women. Kasi imagine, no, yung pregnant, pakapaiinumin mo ng 9-month regimen na kahit binawasan mo ng isang tableta, yung prothionamide kasi around 3 tablets yan. Instead of 3 tablets, 1 tab na lang dun sa linezolid. Madami pa rin, no? 15 tablets siguro aabot. So,
Yes,
yun
Doc.
yung ano niya. So, hopefully, ma-adapt natin yun kasi nirelease na siya noong 2024. So, hindi pa pinag-aaralan pa lang ng NTP kung i-adapt niya yung mga. Tsaka meron pang mga modified, tsaka yung mga bagong gamot. Sana yun. Anyway.
Doc, okay lang pa flash lang yung slide, Doc. Mag-class picture lang tayo, Doc, for
Hi!
documentation lang.
Ano gagawin ko?
Pa-flash lang yung first slide niyo po, Doc.
Yung first slide.
Doc.
Ba
Para
yun?
lang for accred din namin kasi, Doc, na
Okay.
nag-lecture mga consultants. So, kasi connection kasi kami nung last time, Doc, sa accreditation.
Talaga?
Oo, Doc, parang wala kami mapakita kasi, Doc, na
Ay,
nagtuturo yung mga
oo.
consultants.
It's not documented. It's not done. Totoo yun. Sana. Wait,
So,
wait.
document always na kami, Doc.
Correct. Dapat.
Okay, Doc.
Sandali.
Everyone,
Hindi ko.
sige po, Doc. Doon sa first
Hindi
slide
pa
na lang, Doc.
Oo nga hindi ko. Bakit hindi siya nag-move? Kailangan ata Ay, sandali ha. Sandali. Wait.
Sige po, Doc. No worries po, Doc.
Sandali. Ayusin ko muna. Saan ba siya? Bakit hindi siya nag-move? Ay, nag-hang. Ay, bakit hindi nag-move? Sinong techie?
Ano yun, Doc?
So, hindi siya nag-move. Okay. Okay. Discarding. Siguro, yun. Okay.
Okay na, Doc.
Meron pala siyang tinatanong. Okay. Ayun yun. Or ito, kasi nakalagay si Pearling.
Okay lang naman, Doc.
Hindi na kasi ako nagpalit ng slide.
Scan ba yun?
Kenya City. If kaya pa approve.
Pala, if you want, pala, we will be having a webinar on Tuesday
Yes, po.
on paragonimiasis naman. So, mag-ano ako kung gusto niyo lang mag-join sa May 12.
Sure po, Doc. Wait po namin yung link po, Doc. Share po namin sa Ortigas. Okay, I'll take a photo po. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Smile, everybody. Okay, thank you po. Thank you, Doc Irene. Sobrang appreciate po
Okay.
ulit. And thank you, Ortigas, for
Thank you po,
joining
Doc.
us.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Salamat.
Haba.